Hello, my name is Matt Hofste. I'm doing one of the assignments here for you guys. The issue I faced with this one was initially kind of interesting. I thought I had a file for this, and it actually isn't included in either the CC's database or the one that's in the book. However, I did find the files on the internet that we will need for this assignment. The If you go to How to Cheat and Photoshop.net, click to Downloads, and then go to Chapter 2 and download that, you'll be able to find the file that we will need to use in this thing. So go ahead and do that first, and then we will continue. Okay, now since we got the file, let's open it up. And the image that we're doing is actually labeled number 66, although it's actually page 72 in the book. So it's from the Creative Cloud version of the book, so that's the reason why it's 66. Anyways, here's the file, and this is what we're going to start off with. Now, a major thing to understand with these files is when you get a project like this, which is essentially going to be distorting an image, you have to consider is how you want to distort it. In the book, it mentioned a couple different ways to do it. The way we're going to be doing it is more of an organic method versus a stricter angled method, and that's mainly to do with the final image design. You want something that's going to be more organic than this instance because you're putting on a human waist to a image. So that's how we're going to go about doing this, and we will continue on. Alright, for those that are not used to this, we're going to be using what's called the liquify filter. And you go to filter, liquify. Now in this we're going to use what's the advanced mode to get us a brush size that we want. And we're going to go with a 500 size brush. And everything else looks good. So we'll start off with this. And it's very simple. You just push it over and do the same thing this way. Now the key thing in this image is we're going to do a separate function, and that's going to be the next one, which once we say OK, it provides it, and now you see the image. Now the second part of this project is creating a tape measure to go around it. So in this we're going to go to what would be page 46 with the clock face, and you can see how you do the same type of measurements a whole bunch of times. So we'll go to that next. Hello. Well, I've got into a new file here, and in this one we took a slight off-white type color background, and then I made a couple rectangles like what's shown in that particular assignment, and then I created and just copied the layers over a few times over, and right now I'm at 2-3. I will finish this off, but I just want to show you the process here, which is essentially select the rectangle that you create and then go down and to edit. Once you select it, go to edit, copy, or copy merge. If you make hit more, so copy merge, and then you go Control C, and then you just paste it, and then you go to the moves and you move it to there. Although this one has a little extra white on there, so I will have to redo that one. However, I think you see the general gist of what needs to be done. So I'll finish this off, and then I'll go to the numbers, which I will eliminate some of the black lines, the long black lines, and put the numbers in there horizontally, and you'll see what it all looks like with. And then we have to do 2 more of these for 3 different sections of the tape measure, but this is essentially all we have to do. So I'll continue on with this and get to the next part of this. Now the next thing is I want to get all these layers that I just created, because once you copy and paste, it tends to create multiple layers. So I select all the layers I want, and then I go to Layer, Merge Layers, and now I get one layer for all the tick marks. So now I will continue on and do the lettering. Alright, the putting the numbers on the measuring was a little bit difficult. Measuring tape, I needed to rotate it because I couldn't get the numbers to line up like it normally would when you see a measuring tape. So I rotated it, got it established, and there you are. And as you can tell, they're all there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to copy the measuring tape over 2 more times so we can get all 3 sections of this measuring tape for the drawing. So once we get that done, then we're all set to go for pulling these into the true file. A quick note on the tape 2 is the tape 2 is actually being wrapped around, so you're actually going to see the back side of the tape versus the actual front side of the tape. So as a result, you're going to have to number it backwards. So instead of going from 37 to 45 like you did on the first one, you're going to go from 64 up to 72. And then you'll do the reverse for the final tape, because as you spin around the object, you're going to see the back side of it. So just a little note on it, just so you can see a little bit more, have more clarity on it. So it actually looks like it's actual measuring tape around it. So if you don't do that, it's going to look a little odd. Alright, the next object is to go to the Smart Object to convert all these into Smart Objects. So you go to Layer, Smart Objects, and convert to Smart Object. And you do that for all 3 of them. And once you get that done, then we can pull them into the actual file, and we can start this. Alright, now since we got everything in place here now, as you see, I put 3 of these in here. The next step is going to be distorting the tapes. Now to distort the tapes, if you haven't gone through the flag one before, you go to Edit, Free Transform, and in here there's a little button right here which is a Free Transform in Warp Modes. You go to Warp Modes, and there is a whole list of them here. You can do a whole bunch of different things. One we're going to be doing here is called Flag, and as you can tell, it immediately does a really funky thing there, which is cool. However, what we want to do is more something similar to this. That's just changing which direction you want to adjust it to. So we're going to adjust these accordingly, and you'll see how it ends up working out. So I will continue on here. I'll show you the end result of the 2, and then I'll show you how we do the middle one. Alright, as you can tell, I finished all 3 parts here. The tape 1 and tape 3 were just simple flags, and then a slight change in perspective or distort, depending upon how you want to do it. The other one was another free transform, and instead of doing that, I went with a arch. That was designed so I could get that arch in there, as you can tell, and then I did another transform, which was the distort, which you can see there being distorted on the edges there a little bit, so it looks like it's going around the object, which is what I wanted it to do. The next thing is going to be to give it some texture, so it doesn't look like it's set in stone. We want to get some edging burns and other items on there, so that's going to be the next item to do. And after that, this project will be very close to being done. As you can tell, it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a huge amount of time, although each step does take a little bit of work. So as long as you just focus on each step, you'll be okay. So we'll go to the next one, which is going to be putting a little bit of edge work on there.
And to finish this off, what I ended up doing was putting a little Gaussian blur on all three of the tapes, and then put in a small filter to only do right where it's being tucked in to the backside here, which allowed it to look like it's being a little blurred around there. The other thing I did was, I also did it on just on this end here for tape 2. The other thing I did was it was the inner shadow. As you can tell, there's a slight shadow line to the inside of these, which gives a little more definition. And if you can tell, it actually cuts in a little bit on this side here, on either side there. And it puts a little bit of cut in there. At the end of the day, it looks really nice. I was really impressed with this. A little more work designing the smaller tape measure might be a little better idea at the end of the day. However, when you give it as a first run, considering it took me roughly about 2 hours to do this work altogether, I think it was pretty good as a first run here, and I will see how it looks.